Hello, Mustang basketball fans, and welcome to another season of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. I'm your host, Kelly Loft, Athletic Communications Director at Southwest Minnesota State University. And this year, we talk Mustang basketball once again with the head coach, Brad Bigler, as we take a look at each week's highlights and then also look ahead to this week's ball games as well. And the Mustangs opened up the 2013-14 season this past weekend, hosting the SMSU Classic, a couple of very good teams at the RA facility, Fort Hays State and Northwest Missouri State. The Mustangs split their opening weekend, losing to Fort Hays 89-72, but bouncing back and beating Northwest Missouri by a score of 72-50. Coach, welcome back to another season. Exciting basketball coming up here for Mustang basketball, and I think off the bat, we should just kind of talk about how exciting it is to get back at it here, playing some games. A lot's happened here in the offseason, getting ready for this 2013-14 season.
It has, and it's been a fast fall, how fast it is, and now we're almost to conference play. I mean, it's just around the corner. So how things have progressed, the guys have done a great job, and last weekend put together a pretty good effort in two games.
We'll talk about the game. We'll take a look at the highlights here shortly, but let's talk about the fall and how you've had to mesh a couple of new players in there, and not a lot of newcomers that haven't been involved in the program. I had quite a few guys that have redshirted, but kind of talk about how that's gone and how things went during the fall and how it's a little bit different than just maybe that first day of practice in October. You've been together with the guys most of this past fall.
And it has. Last year we had so many distractions, however you want to say it, so it was a slow start to the season, where this year we were able to hit the ground running in September and get going well. There's a lot of new guys that are in new roles, and that's exciting. Not only you add the combination of Joey Bartlett, Mitch Wegg as redshirt freshman, Drew Osmondson as a redshirt freshman. You have Cole Martin. You have Sean Conn, who's in a new role. You have David Connon, who is again progressed another year, is ready to go. So those guys right now are complementing our senior group of Bernard Birch, Matt Zager, Will Giddings, and Nick Smith. So it has been an adjustment, though. When you lose guys like Jordan Miller, Lavion West, Tremel Barnes, Michael, those guys were a big part of the program for a long time. And now those guys like Matt Zager, Bernard Birch, those guys are now stepping into different leadership roles. And so it's been a learn-on-the-go process, but they've done an outstanding job, and guys are doing the right things.
Well, one thing that's unique about having these newcomers in there, you really can't ease them into it. They're going to play right away because of so many seniors graduating last year. I mean, Mitch Wegg is starting, and Joey Bartlett, he's getting 15 minutes a game, and Cole Martin, and they're really learning here, trial by fire because of the situation. But they seem to respond very well so far.
And they have. All of them are physically prepared. Last year, the redshirt year was good for all of them. Put on a lot of strength, being able to be in our system, having the opportunity to learn not only last year, but throughout the summer and then now into the fall. Just that whole growth process. I think all of them took advantage of it, and you can see the results are on the floor right now, and they're going to see improvement throughout the year. I mean, these guys. Again, they're just still trying to get comfortable. They're still trying to get that rhythm, and as the season goes, they will.
Yeah, of course. In the beginning of the season, as you do every year, putting together a tough schedule, and right off the bat, you played two very good teams, in-region opponents from the MIAA. Both picked 1-2 in their conference. Fort Hays State picked to win the conference in the MIAA. Northwest Missouri picked second, and they did very well. Let's talk about your overall thoughts of this opening weekend. Again, Fort Hays State had a 5-point lead at half, tie game with 11 minutes to go, and a little stretch by the Tigers really was the difference in that one.
Yeah, I mean, going into this weekend's tournament, we knew they're both going to be challenged. Obviously, preseason number 1, number 2. Fort Hays actually won their conference last year. Northwest Missouri went to their conference tournament championship game, and they had a lot of guys returning. So going in, we knew it was going to be a battle versus Fort Hays. It was great first half, back and forth. Going into the second half, like you said, they just had a nice little run. They hit 10 threes in the second half, shot over 70% from three. I've said that on a few occasions here, but I think it's more of a compliment to them. We had our opportunities to knock down threes. We had a lot of good looks. Unfortunately, only shot 17%. So we didn't take advantage from opportunities, but I think more so Fort Hays was just the better team because of how they shot the basketball on that night.
Well, the next day you come back, you play Northwest Missouri State, who had a nice win the first day against Upper Iowa, but you come back and really get after on the defensive end, limit the Bearcats to just 34% shooting, and you really got some nice production off the bench, and probably that's going to be a key this season, as if guys like Condon and Bartlett and Martin score, it really just opens so many things up for your offense.
Well, especially because all three of those guys can come off the bench and knock down three-point shots. When those guys are shooting at a high level, that really spreads the floor and allows for better driving angles for Bernard Birch and Matt Zager and Will Giddings and some of those other guys. But it really opens up the offense when those guys are shooting well, and that's what we expect out of them throughout the year.
Well, we talked about some of the newcomers and obviously the senior group with William Giddings, Bernard Birch, Matt Zager, Nick Smith. These guys have been through the battles here throughout their careers. And just touch on, you mentioned it briefly early about just how important those guys are going to play as role models for this program. And when the tough, the games get tough down the stretch, those guys really need to step up and make some plays. And obviously early on in the season they have, and they've had done that in their career. But it's very important now with so many new players in roles as backups.
And like we said previously, losing some of those key guys who probably Jordan Miller had the ball in his hands at the end of games a lot the last couple of years, where now that gives an opportunity for those other guys to be able to be that guy who makes that play to win us the ball game. And I thought you saw Bernard Birch, especially versus Northwest Missouri State, at the end of the game, he had the ball in his hands and he was making play after play. And whether that's getting to the rim, whether that's hitting a pull-up jumper, whether that's getting his teammates involved, he really stepped up in that area, and that's what a great point guard should do.
Yeah, of course, the Mustangs, that first game to Fort Hays State, losing 89-72. SMSU, a rare in the last couple of years shooting night, not very good. Mustangs just 37%, didn't shoot over 41% in either half. And that's, give a credit to Fort Hays State, but that's pretty, the numbers don't lie. We shoot at a high clip very often, and you had some wide open looks, and that's all you can ask for. And it's one of those rare instances where the Mustangs just couldn't get those shots, because last year, well over half the games, you shot over 50% each game.
Yeah, and I think that first half we shot 2 of 10 from 3, and those 8 threes that we missed, good looks. Definitely hard for a coach, even though the ball's not going the hoop. They're so wide open that it's kind of hard to sit there and say, hey, don't take that shot. Those shots, they have to be able to step up and shoot that with confidence. And that kind of leads me into the next one. Going to the next night, one of the keys of the game, I was trying to get them to calm down a little bit. So our offense, we have 3 keys of the game, and the third one I said, shoot the ball with your eyes open. So just try to really have them get calm, play with some confidence, and try to get into that rhythm.
Well, the Mustangs shot with their eyes wide open, and from the free throw line in that first game, Mustangs 26 of 32, and in the contest, in the loss, Sean Condon set a school single game record, 15 of 16 free throws that he made in the game. That's a new record for free throws in a single game. He had 15 points, all from the line. The next day, the Mustangs 7 of 9 from the stripe. The good numbers to look at, Coach, and obviously if you missed some shots in that first game, that's going to happen, but your rebounding very solid. 42-32 advantage against Fort Hays in the win over Northwest, 34-19, and that's a lot of extra possessions and keeping the ball and the offensive end, getting some second chance points, and that was key in both games.
Yeah, just our overall rebounding on the weekend. I think walking away, that was one of the brightest things from the weekend. It's just nice when you have a Mitch Wag or a Joey Bartlett, where a lot of times teams are going to pull Nick to the ball side, whether that's in a ball screen, whether that's off a drive and he's protecting the rim. So when the shot goes up, it's just nice to have that big body on the backside to be able to rebound, and it makes such a big difference. And those guys, it was nice to see, and those guys stepped up and made the plays.
Well, you mentioned it during the exhibition season. The fans, they're going to like Mitch Wag, and a redshirt freshman from Worthington did not disappoint. His first game, 9 rebounds. His second game came out with 6 rebounds, and he's a guy that's really going to get after it on both ends of the floor to get that board. And fans like those guys that get the rebounds, Ross DeMasi and Chad Orm over the years, and Mitch Wag kind of fits that profile of those particular players.
And he does. We've been very fortunate to have a lot of good players of Taylor Hughesby, Scott Rail, Ross DeMasi, those guys that they rebound at a different level, and it's a mentality, and that's definitely that mentality could be considered a skill set, and Mitch definitely has that, and I think Joey has it as well. And I also think that we need to compliment Will Giddings. This year he's been rebounding the best that he has rebounded in his career. Some of those rebounds that he was getting last weekend, he just rose up in a pile of people and just snagged that ball in the air. And so the combination of all those guys are rebounding at a high level, and hopefully that continues.
And again, Giddings, he had 6 rebounds in both games. He also scored 16 points, a team high against Fort Hays State. Off the bench, Sean Condon with 15 points. Matt Zager had 13. Nick Smith, 10 points, 9 rebounds in that loss to Fort Hays State. Let's take a look at the highlights from that game against the Tigers at the RA facility in the season opener. Coach, again, the Mustangs lose 89-72. A game that was much closer than that score might indicate. But in the first half, he played very well, shot over about 41%, and got some good post touches. That was Nick Smith getting that one. And then we talked about Will Giddings here and Nick Smith with some baskets.
And I think throughout the weekend, our rhythm, just our patience with the basketball, going inside of Nick is going to be more of an emphasis this year. As you saw in both games, he received a lot of post touches, and it's going to be up to Nick to be able to make those plays in the block. And if they're going to double, he needs to make good decisions and create easy opportunities for teammates.
Mustangs had 17 offensive rebounds in this game against Fort Hays State, and you're going to see one of them right here off the miss by Martin.
And Will Giddings just getting in the mix, making plays. Again, he's come out with a very good focus, and with that focus comes a lot of intensity.
Well, the Mustangs with just 4 3-pointers in this game. Here's a layup by Matt Zager. We saw him hit a 3 earlier, and now he hit another one here. Just 4 in the contest, 4 of 23 from long range.
And that play right there shows that's a veteran move by Bernard Birch, keeping his balance, being able to pivot and pass out of that, and Matt Zager just stepping up and knocking down the open shot.
Smith misses the shot, gets his offensive rebound, and puts it in. And here's Bernard Birch. We can do this so well, driving to the basket and drawing the foul.
And it comes off some other action. Right now, some false action away. Bernard attacks. And when he gets that momentum going, it's really hard to contain him, especially with the new NCAA rules of no hand checking, no arm bars.
11 points for Birch. There's a little 17-footer that he drains. And then Will Giddings showing his athletic ability with the dunk.
He made it look so easy. I think everyone in the gym was kind of surprised. That's a pretty athletic move to be able to go in and hammer it down like that.
Here's Bernard Birch getting the steal, and the Mustangs come back the other way, getting an and one.
Again, just good effort on the defensive end, creating scoring opportunities on offense and transition.
Here's defense for the Mustangs, switching things up, going with a little zone matchup.
And I thought throughout the weekend, that's something that we did very well last year, something that we'll continue to work on. I think what it does is it just makes teams shoot at a different rhythm with a different type of a closeout. And I thought it worked well for us in the first half of both games.
Just giving a different look, and Mustangs get the stop on the defensive end, come back on offense, and Nick Smith with the handoff, and Zager drills it for the jumper, and then Mitch Wegg drops an assist here to Smith.
And again, Nick, Mitch is going to keep his stuff simple, where he's straight line drives right there. He goes back door, gets a catch, throws it to Nick. I think that's the thing. When Mitch keeps it simple and then just crashes the boards, that's how he's most effective for us.
Mustangs led 36-31 at halftime. We move now to the second half, and the Mustangs early on. Smith with another post move with the right hand off the window. Nick 5 of 10 shooting, 10 points, 9 rebounds. And there's with Mitch Wegg with a couple of nice moves here. He draws the foul and then gets an offensive rebound on this next possession.
This was a set design to try to get Joey's shot. He was open. He'll knock down that shot as we go. But again, just the presence of Mitch Wegg to be able to chase down boards out of his area, that was a big offensive rebound for us.
Condon hand the ball off to Giddings, who tough take to the basket, gets the and one. And then Cole Martin, who had a basket in the game, struggled shooting just 1 of 8, but gets his lone jumper here in the paint, drives and scores. And then Bernard driving here and getting to the free throw line. Mustangs, again, a 16-6 run by Fort Hays was the difference, breaking a tie game with 11 minutes to go, and SMSU just trying to fight their way back. And give Fort Hays credit, they made the shots. As we mentioned, 10 of 13 from long range. There's a 3 by Giddings. And then a couple of nice drives here by Zager and Sean Condon getting to the free throw line.
And at the end of the game, you want to score with the clock not running. Getting the foul line is a big part, putting pressure on them, scoring quickly in the shot clock. And I thought we were able to do that. It's just on the other end, we had a tough time guarding that three-point line, and they made us pay for it.
Birch with the layup. Again, he was 1 of 5 Mustangs in double figures. Mitch Weg on the bottom of your screen. He'll get the ball here and drive to the basket, drawing the foul, or getting the pass and then drawing the foul. And eventually he's going to be able to finish those, and had a couple chances there at the rim.
Yeah, and Mitch, again, just getting some contact there. As you see Sean Condon again, just being aggressive. That was our mentality there at that point. Being down a little bit, I just wanted to get as easy of a bucket as we possibly could, as quick as we could. And Will Giddings stepping up here and just knocking down a deep 3. Again, I thought throughout the night we played well. Obviously not well enough to win, but again, I think it's more of a credit to Fort Hays than it is to a knock on us in this category.
Yeah, the Mustangs get outscored 58-36 in that second half and lose 89-72. SMSU just 32% shooting in the second half. But Coach, you don't have much time to think about it after that loss. Very similar to exactly like conference. You've got to play the next day and against a very good team. And Northwest Missouri State, as you mentioned, a team that went to the tournament championship game last year and just missed the NCAA tournament. But they win on Saturday. They come back and talk about the mindset that the guys had, and just to forget about Saturday and get ready for Sunday's game.
Well, we changed our approach a little bit for our shoot around. We watched a lot more film and really tried to improve from a mental standpoint. And I think the guys came in Sunday with a great focus. They executed very well. Their communication was at a high level, and I think it carried over to the game, and we were very disciplined throughout the game.
Well, the Mustangs bounced back and beat Northwest Missouri State 72-50. SMSU a 10-point lead at half, 33-23, limiting the Bearcats to 36% shooting in the first half. Southwest shot 52 in the first half, 71% in the second half. Incredible numbers, and finished the game shooting 61. And you're going to win most games, I think, Coach, if you shoot 71% in a half.
Yeah, and it was just, give our guys credit, they were playing unselfish. They were attacking the hoop, making that nice little pass. On some of the highlights in the second half, you're going to see guys have good shots, but then they pass it up, and then we get great shots. And just that unselfish play is what we need.
All right, let's take a look at the highlights from the RA on Sunday as the Mustangs take on Northwest Missouri State. Southwest in the gold uniform. And right off the bat, Matt Zager, who finished with just 5 points, had one 2-point field goal. That was it. Gives the Mustangs an early lead. And Bernard Birch here with a couple of back-to-back baskets.
And going back to Matt Zager, Matt's a guy that's very efficient. He doesn't need the ball in his hands, but really gets his action off cutting action or help. When his man helps, he just didn't touch the ball as much this game. And not saying he played bad, it's just other guys made their different reads.
Nick Smith, big first half. He had 3 highlights here for us with some baskets. And here's the capper.
And Nick, I think, stepped up to this challenge. Dylan Starzl is one of the better centers in our region, and Nick was, he accepted the challenge. He wanted to go right at him, and early on he had a lot of success scoring on Dylan.
Well, an excellent job by Bernard Birch hitting that pull-up jumper. Mustangs get a stop on the defensive end. Joey Bartlett, good to see him hit that shot, his first of his collegiate career, first field goal. Or he actually had one on Saturday, but this one here in the first half against Northwest.
Again, that was a good example of Will Giddings getting a tough rebound and going coast to coast. Right here, Joey Bartlett with the easy kick-out 3, and that's what he's going to bring to us. He shoots a 3 at a high percentage, and he's a guy that's going to stretch the defense.
And one for Giddings. Mustangs again led by 10 at half, 33-23. Trailed early on in the first 7 or 8 minutes, but got the lead and then maintained it the rest of the way. Here's, again, the Mustangs with a double. against Starzl and making the Bearcats make some extra passes, and excellent job here by the Mustangs to get that stop.
And that, again, just shows I think we're improving on our rotations. We're not there yet, but the effort was clearly there on Sunday, and it starts with the effort.
5 block shots for Smith, tying a career high for blocks in a game. Giddings with the basket. Here's Nick Smith for 2 more with the dunk.
And again, just Bernard is developing so much in this system when he knows where everyone's at on the floor, and I think we're going to see a lot more games where he has 6, 7 assists this year.
Mustangs force a turnover, steal by Giddings, and you're going to see Birch here. We saw him take the pull-up jumper. This time drives, draws the foul. Now we go to the second half. Boy, long jump shot by Smith, drills that from the right baseline, and then again another block here in the defensive end.
Great presence by Nick, reading the play, just a simple ISO, and Nick steps over and makes the play.
7 block shots on the weekend for Smith. There's a 3 by the Mustangs. Saw that screen there.
Previous clip. There's kind of an emphasis this year where we have to be smart on how we set those ball screens. We need to make sure we're staying set and not running through.
Bernard, long range 3. Or long range 2. There's Bartlett on the left wing, hitting another 3. Bartlett 3 of 5 from the field, a couple of 3-pointers, 8 points.
Good defense again there where we double Dillon and make a play on the pass out.
Great pass, Birch to Smith, draws the foul. We're seeing a lot of action at the rim by the senior point guard.
And you're going to see here, Bernard just kind of has his little highlight tape here where he's making plays left and right, and the guys around him are moving, and when Bernard doesn't have the scoring opportunity, he's making the play and getting those guys easy looks.
There was Zager's first 3, and there was that charge. They wiped it off, gave Sean Condon the hoop, but did call a charge foul. And we'll talk about those rules here shortly. But again, Mitch Wegg gets a great feed. He scores off the pass from Condon. And Cole Martin gets into the act with a 16-footer. Couple blocks here now. Here's one by Joey Bartlett. Keeps his feet. Excellent job reading that. And back on offense. Again, another floater from Birch. Sean Condon got in the mix. 3 of 5 from the field.
Great unselfishness here. 3, 4 passes, and we were able to get a layup.
And another assist here from Condon to Nick Smith. Again, Smith, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 5 blocked shots.
And right there was a foul by Joey, but I think it just shows right now where we're a more physical basketball team. If you're going to come to the paint, we have a lot bigger and probably a little bit of a tougher presence. Again, Nick Smith showing his ability to get block shots. Here you see them out pressuring, kind of in a scramble situation with Will Giddings getting a nice dunk.
Birch with the basket, and then a couple of blocks here on the defensive, or on this end by David Condon. And then Condon showing that outside jump shot ability, drills that from the free throw line. I know people are excited about that for Condon. He gets the block and then gets that jump shot as well. And Mustangs get the win 72-50 over Northwest Missouri State. And Coach, we had a couple of highlights there that you kind of wanted to talk about, and that some of the rule changes, and you're going to see, I think, good for the game of basketball. I think I saw a stat last year at the Division I level. Scoring was down to the lowest it's been in 30-some years, so they made some rule changes, which affects Division I, II, and III, and a lot less hand checks. They're more going to be called, I should say, and the block charge. Kind of talk about what you've been told here by the officials this offseason and getting ready for this year.
Well, what we've been told is it's more of it used to be an emphasis of hand checks. Well, now it's actually a rule. And with that, any type of hand check off the drive, an arm bar, any contact with your hands on the drive is supposed to be an automatic foul. And I think right now everyone's adjusting. The teams are adjusting, the players, the coaches, and the officials are adjusting because it's a tough call, especially in the second half when it's under 10 minutes. A guy does an arm check or arm bar. I think it's tough to make that call, but I think it's necessary. I mean, that's what the rules are there for. I think they're trying to make it a less physical game and more of a skilled game, and that's where we just need to continue to develop and continue to work in that way. The block charge one, that's a difficult one. I think, and like you said, they were trying to get the scoring up, and one of those things was the contact and the paint off a drive. They're really going to favor the offensive players now, and basically, by the definition of the rule, we had shown that clip of Sean Connon. That was actually probably the wrong call, and by definition, where if he's up and there's upward motion and there's contact in the air and he's not set, that's an automatic block. And again, everyone's adjusting. Everyone's still trying to figure those out to get a little bit more consistent. But again, there's a lot of different ways of improving the offense in college basketball. The way I look at it is there's a lot of teams that they stall on offense. I mean, they're going to run their shot clock all the way down to under 10. Maybe the other suggestion is to maybe lower the shot clock. Maybe to lower the shot clock, force teams to have to play offense rather than just stall. And I think that would improve the game as well.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how things are called this year as we get into conference play. Mustangs do have a few more non-conference games. Does not get any easier. The Mustangs now have a week off, but next Monday they'll be at South Dakota State taking on the Jackrabbits, who made the NCAA tournament the last couple of years, and the Mustangs go to Northern Michigan and play Michigan Tech. Those two very good teams up there in the UP. So, Coach, it doesn't get any easier, but that's what you want, and a great opportunity to play a Division I team in South Dakota State. We've had a good relationship playing them every year, and they keep calling back because they know it's going to be a good game playing the Mustangs.
Yeah, we really appreciate their willingness to play us. I know they could go and find probably someone that a lower level, Division III or NAI, a lower level that.
Or a lower level Division I type team.
Yeah, I mean, and they could go in a variety of different ways with it, but they're very kind to us and letting us come over and play. And it's always a good game. Now, we don't usually put a ton of time into that scout. That's a game that it's kind of fun for our guys. We kind of roll it out, we let them go. Don't get me wrong, we do some scout, but our focus right now will be over this week, and then next week is those Michigan games. They're D2 games. They impact our NCAA chances, and those are games that we're going to put a little bit more focus on and make sure that we're prepared to go on that trip, because that's going to be a tough trip. I mean, obviously the distance is going to be a factor, but then we're going into new environments with new officials, new programs. Now, we played Michigan Tech a little bit, but they're going to have quite a bit different look with some of their better players graduating last year. So, very good teams, and we need to be ready for them.
It should be fun. Again, the Mustangs at South Dakota State, and then at Michigan Tech in Northern Michigan before Thanksgiving. And then conference starts Thanksgiving Saturday down in Sioux Falls against the University of Sioux Falls. Southwest back at home December 6th and 7th against Augustana and Wayne State. Coach, thanks for coming back again. Another season started up. First episode done here for Mustang basketball with Brad Bigler. I want to thank you for watching as well here at Studio One and at SMSUmustangs.com. For the head coach, Brad Bigler, I'm Kelly Loft. Thanks for watching this week's episode. Until next week, go Mustangs.